Good evening, Yonkers. This is Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today I have Councilman Anthony Merante, councilman of the 6th District, is running for mayor this November. Join us. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today I have the pleasure of being joined by Council Member Anthony Merante of the 6th District, who is also running for mayor this November against the incumbent Mike Spano. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Anthony Merante, Councilman of the 6th District, mayoral candidate.
Hey, Freddie, how are you?
Mr. Restore Term Limits himself.
That's it. That's my new name. I'm changing it on my driver's license.
on your license plate where it says tax help there.
Tax help. That's right. You're right. That's a good idea. You know something? I'll have to go talk to the motor vehicles. Maybe that's a great idea. I like that.
Well, good evening, Anthony Merante, council member. I appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much. Not many people are willing to take my invite offers, but you have. And I always say those who come on the show, are people that are more likely to be transparent because they're not afraid to come on Basement Politics, right?
Nothing to hide here. Nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide. And we're not going to get too crazy. I just really, the main thing is I want people who may not already know who Anthony Merante is, councilman of the 6th District, and also that he's running for mayor this November. But there's a little bit more to your campaign, right? You have two lines. And you have an independent line, and we're going to get into that. But really quick, just give me a little bit of background of your political background, council member.
Okay, well, I've been involved with politics for about 25 years. I'm a ward leader for the last probably 10, 12 years here in the Republic.
Hey, Ange, be careful with the walking.
So I've been involved and helped out with many campaigns as throughout the years. I myself got involved when John Larkin graciously finished his 2 4-year terms back in 2017, and was fortunate enough to win election in 2017. I am the poster child for Every Vote Counts because I won by 15 votes in 2017, and then they threw the heavyweights after me in 2021, and I once again prevailed in that race. So altogether, I am the city council now for six wonderful years, and looking forward to changing my title from councilman to mayor.
I'm sure you are, and there are a lot of people that are actually supporting you. A lot of people that comment on Basement Politics that have reached out to me. So there are a lot of people that are looking and hoping for you to become the next mayor. I appreciate you giving me that background. Tell me a little bit about this campaign you're running here for mayor, right? You're just not only running as a Republican, right? You have another independent line. Tell me about that line.
Thanks, Fred. Yeah, I appreciate that question. Yeah, so basically, we here in the city of Yonkers have been, back in November, the city council in a 4-3 vote voted to extend term limits from 3 4-year terms to 4 4-year terms. So that, I was one of the guys that voted for the extension in 2018, and I said I would never do it again. Don't ask me again. You want to extend it again, get a referendum on the ballot. Didn't happen. So I decided that, and I can see that people were upset. They were very upset in 2018, but it didn't take on I think the people were a lot more upset, being, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. Or is it the other way around? I always get that mixed up. But the point of the matter is that people did not like the idea that they were shamed on by the fact that the council changed the terms. So when I did not obtain a second party line, we decided that we would go after an independent party line, and we deemed it labeled it the Restore Term Limit line. And we started, and we collected over 2,000 signatures. We needed 1,500, and we put that out, and we were challenged. And the Board of Elections came back and ruled in our favor, and we ended up with 1,600 valid signatures. Therefore, I now have in addition to the Republican Party line, the restore term limit line on the November 7th ballot.
And so, and your, I guess your goal with that is, one, you want to bring awareness and attention to the restored term limits, and also you want to give people an option, right? Democrats who may be, looking for something different, but maybe may not want to vote Republican, could have that option. Is that kind of,
Absolutely correct. Of course, the Republicans have been given, a bad name out in the world out there, which I'd love to debate that another time, another day. But the point of the matter here is that some Democrats just will not want to vote for me on the Republican line. As a matter of fact, I'm telling everybody, I think I'm going to vote for myself on the restored term limit line, because I think it's a resonating issue. So that's what the people are upset about, is that it was extended, terms were extended, and it was wrong. And even supporters of the mayor are upset. They say, because 12 years is enough, and they realize that the power that is bestowed upon someone that has that much, many years, it's hard to overcome, and it makes it very difficult for people to participate in the process, financially and just even getting on. Because we have a hard time getting signatures. People were concerned that they're going to see my name on this petition, they're going to retaliate against me. And this is Yonkers 2023, not the Kremlin. So it's something, and I think a lot of the people that work in the city too are ready for a change too, because I'm going to eventually I'm going to get myself a nice charm that has a key on it, which is basically the key to unlock, to free people, the key to freedom here is the key to success for others who've been locked out, and the key to free people here in the city that feel, listen, it's getting to be very tense to work here within the city of Yonkers.
Do you sense, as a council member, someone who's very involved here, who's very tied to the community, that there is this overwhelming feeling of people who work for the city that want change? Because we saw a lot of city employees who were supporting it at the meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about it. It's you get to a point where you need change, and it's time. It's time. It's amazing the support we're getting out there. I'm getting calls from people that we're making calls out of my office right now, and some of the comments are pretty amazing. We're getting a lot of support. I think that what's happening here is, if you ask the average person on the street, if they don't know who you are and know that you're not going to say, they're going to say they're voting for Spano, or everything's good, everything is good. This is going to be the silent majority coming to life on November 7th. Actually, they're going to start coming to life on October 28th. Start voting October 28th, early voting. But yes, by 9 o'clock on November 7th, we'll know soon after that moment that we are going to be the new mayor.
I've been seeing a lot of your posts recently, and I've noticed that you have been going over to the southwest side of town, meeting with folks there and businesses there. I saw you also with Jose Diaz, county legislator candidate for District 17. And I like that. I like seeing that. That's with the neighborhood, the side I grew up on. And so how's that been? And do you feel that that's important, to really connect with the people? One, as a mayor, you would want to connect with everyone in the city. And also, when it comes time to getting the necessary votes to beat Mike Spano, is that important?
Well, absolutely. So we wanted to go over. I wanted to talk to the owners of the businesses, their managers, and see what their feelings were. And again, it's when you go next in line from the term limit issue, the next item that's a big concern is crime. I mean, people down there are concerned. They're having issues with various things, because obviously this bail reform is not helping anybody, and they need somebody that's going to give a lot more pushback to Albany, and hopefully start leading the way for other people to get involved, because that's why I'm getting involved. I know what happens, and that's what the people down on South Broadway are telling us, is that it's crime. The place isn't looking as great as it should be. We ran into a bunch of trash over there, so we send those pictures in, and again, it's a matter of just paying attention. Sometimes complacency sets in, and you can't take anything for granted in this game. And we're going out there. We'll be back out there again soon. I know Jose was out there this weekend. I wasn't around this weekend. well, Saturday we attended one event, but Sunday I wasn't available. But needless to say, we want to get out there as much. I got to meet as many people as possible, it's unfortunate, but those are the stories. You're talking about, and there was also some unstable individuals that were walking into these places doing things that pretty unbelievable. But but we're spending money on people that we don't even know, and we have our own people here that we're not spending money on. From Albany wants to send money for the migrant crisis, and we have our own homeless and mentally disabled folks here that need a lot of help, and they need the money, and that's what you're learning. You don't see that every day. I mean, it's so I did feel that when I left. We spent a couple hours there that day, and I plan on going back, and it's pretty sad, but it's got to be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think at the very least, people going out, officials going out there and at least listening to the people, hearing their concerns and validating some of their feelings goes a long way, right? I think that's very big in itself. And while you may not change all the problems, right away, but you still heard their concerns and you know what the problems are. And complacency, you mentioned, right? Complacency is no good, right? If you are elected as mayor, what differences will you bring to the position of mayor of the city of Yonkers?
Well, obviously we need some different leadership throughout the city, various departments, because again, everybody is basically, I'm friends with the mayor there. They've been there for a while. You need people to realize they've got everyone, and I got to be careful with this because we have a lot of great employees here in the city of Yonkers, very respectful people. So this is not a blanket comment. Some people just basically feel that they're entitled and who's working for who here in the city. And you know what? We're in a customer service business. We work for the people. And Freddie, I may have said this to you before, and I'll say it to your viewers. I have a favorite saying of mine. Okay, God gave us 2 ears and a mouth and one mouth a reason. We should listen twice as much as we talk. And and I want to make sure that the people here that work in the city of Yonkers are listening to the people when there's issues. And I just got off. One of my callers just told me now someone has an issue with something. They called in and they felt it was on deaf ears. Like I don't know what I'm going to do. And something that's not going to happen. I guess our call center, which is our customer service line, should be taken care of. I mean, I'm sure they take care of a lot, but they don't take care of everything. And some things I think they just don't feel as important. And
right.
I don't want to say it the wrong way because they're good people.
Well, I mean, we
want them to change the attitude that if they can't get it done right away, we got to get it done as soon as possible.
Right. No, I mean, there are people, and they've contacted me, residents who have reached out to officials, in certain districts, and they haven't gotten any help. And they've reached out to me, and I've made enough noise to get some things for them addressed. And it just seems like that's kind of a common thing. And I definitely think that, any official, anyone that's elected needs to pay attention and be aware and figure out problems that the people have. That's your job, and it's sad to hear that people are not being heard. But I want to go to.
I'm here, but Freddie, but that's why I'm here, because exactly this is what happens is that I tell everybody when I go out to the community meetings, if you call the 377 helpline, please document who you spoke to, what time you spoke, and what was the issue, and then be respectful, give them unless it's really serious and it really needs immediate attention. If you don't see something happen in a day or so, give me a call, because that's what ends up happening. They don't get the action done with that number, and they call me, and we've been very successful. Because a lot of the people do, and the city do care. When I get a call from me, they know something's up, and we appreciate their response.
There you go. You hear the councilman. He says if you have a concern, he will address it if you call him, right? And so I want to, and if you have any questions for Councilman Merante, please go ahead and post them in the comments there. I'll get to them toward the end. I want to, you're an accountant by trade, right? You're a numbers guy. That's what you do.
CPA, yes, I am. Yeah,
you have tax help there on your license plate. I know you're part owner of several businesses. I hear you're a good businessman. One of the primary responsibilities of the city council is the budget.
Yeah.
The budget. As the mayor, if you were to be elected, one of the major issues, especially the one that I've been talking about a lot, is the lack of funding for our schools. How will your expertise as an accountant help with reviewing, going through and auditing the budget and the city spending to find the necessary cash to allocate towards the schools? I know that the state, Albany, is not given the fair share. We hear that, right? We heard that many, many times, right? But we still have to figure out a way. So how can you, as an accountant, bring that as the mayor to be able to, audit the spending and find the money that we need?
Well, I'm not going to let your comment it's really critical what you said though, Freddie, is that I'll shed some more light on it. I mean, if you haven't heard my spiel before, I mean, because I've analyzed the numbers. Okay, not to bore folks with the inside numbers, but we send up to Albany every year $500 million in income tax and sales tax. We only receive back roughly $400 million of it. Okay.
Really quick, explain that, because I have heard that before. What does that mean when the city of Yonkers sends up $500 million and we only get back?
Okay, so when you go into a store and buy something that's sales taxable, because some things are tax exempt, you pay 8.875 in sales tax, of which 4.5 of it, 4.25, 4.5 goes to Albany. Okay, so I don't have the exact breakdown in front of me, but when you put all the marbles together between Freddy, Vazquez, Anthony Merante, and the rest of the city of Yonkers, okay, that and on your tax return, the state of New York, based on your income, pays income tax to the state of New York. Okay, so on your personal tax returns, your IT 201, we want to have a lesson in tax returns. We'll have that next week. But the point of the matter here is when you're sending out all that income tax money that's coming out of your paycheck every week, the two numbers together come out to be about roughly $500 million. And this is year of the this is 1 year, each year over the past bunch of years.
So you're saying it's the responsibility of the state to separate that money and give Yonkers its portion?
That's correct, and it does in the form of aid to the schools. We do get that $108 million in AIM, aid and incentives to municipalities, which has been sitting at $108 million for the last 10, 12 years now. Okay, so there's an extra $100 million that's up there. And by the way, Freddie, keep in mind when we talk about that they give up so much to there's about 300 million or so, that 300 million that's given to the schools. I want you to understand something. That doesn't include the lottery money. I haven't even investigated the lottery money, although in one of my last reports, they said $50 million of some of that money was the lottery money. So if that was $50 million of lottery money, that means it's $150 million of income tax and sales tax that we give to Albany that is sitting up there that we're not getting back. And listen, Mike Spano can't go after it as hard as I'm going to go after it, because now when I look in the eyes of Shelley Mayer, be respectful, Senator Mayer, Shelley Mayer, and Senator Andrew Stewart Cousins, I look in their eyes and I can say, I want our money. Explain to me why we're not getting the money. Maybe they're wise to Yonkers that they don't want to give it because Yonkers, maybe they think Yonkers does not do a good job in distributing the money. Maybe someone like myself who is, Freddie, my other spiel that I tell everybody is, look at my finance reports. I'm independent for the most part. I only get contributions from small people. I'm beholden to none, Freddie. No strings here. Remember, I tell you all the time, I told you the same thing. There's only one string, right? The one that I owe to my wife at 39 years.
Well, that's what people say, that you do fund, you're self-funded, right? You fund your own campaigns. You take very little funding from contributors. And speaking of the, like the lottery and other monies that, is supposed to go to our schools or that we generate, MGM Grand, right? Mm-hmm. They're hoping to get a full gaming license over there at Empire Casino. Yep. That contract, the amount of money that where the home state or the home city, I should say, home host, right? Host. We get a certain money for that.
19.8 million, I believe.
That's where it's at, right? It's been a number for years rather than a percentage. And you as an accountant, right? You would agree with me that a percentage would be a lot better than agreeing to a set number, correct?
We do get some additional monies out of some profits there. But it would be great. And once that gaming license, which was actually done by Mike Spano when he was in the assembly, that number absolutely needs to be increased. And that's part of that that 400 million that I talked about. That is part of that 400 million that goes right to the schools. So yes, that number needs to be increased. So I don't know if I'm answering your question. We need to change it. Again, there's a calculation, but the base number needs to increase absolutely. Just like our aim, Freddie, $108 million for 12 straight years. I mean, that's ridiculous. We should be up to 125 million to the city alone, plus, like I said, plus that percentage of the host. But if I may go on to one other thing that you asked me before, one of the things that I look to do, multiple things. Listen, let's face it. This is when on November 8th when I win, it's not the end. It's the beginning. We need to look at savings and spending. Where can we save some money? Yeah, okay. Let's say maybe we can save a couple of minutes. But really, what the real job is, Freddie, is in this development. Okay, MGM license is going to be big. That's going to be huge because then we're going to attract some heavy duty gamblers. Gambling is another problem, but we don't want to get to that part of it. But the people that are going to come here, there'll be the venue, they'll change it, they'll probably create an entertainment. But we need revenue, and the revenue has got to be done by development, and that's what my goal is. When I went into my kitchen store, we were at a certain number. I hired the right people, and I tripled my sales. We need to put the right development here because again. I don't know what Hollywood on the Hudson is going to be doing to Yonkers. It was supposed to create 5,000 new jobs. I don't know. No one has said anything to me about that they've been hired by MGM. They don't even go out and buy food from the neighborhoods. They have a commissary so people eat within the complex. So that I don't know what the plan was supposed to be, but I don't see it helping anybody. No one has told me they got a job at Lionsgate. So we need to get. My office. I'm talking to you from Central Avenue here in Yonkers, and it's a lot of brick and mortar is vacant, and we need to fill up. We need to fill up these venues to people that are going to come up here. I don't know how long you're here, Freddie. I'm living here 36 years, and I remember when it used to take 10 minutes to go from Tuckahoe Road to well, I was going to say Caldors.
That was only 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, but so Central Avenue, we need to attract. We're not developed. People are leaving the city. We don't know our neighbors anymore. Communities are falling apart. It used to be shopping wasn't just shopping. Shopping was a social event. You used to go out and you run to again. I'll use Kohl's as a thing. When you want to go to Carvel, you want to go to Pepe's Pizza. People got together and they say, "Hey, Freddie, how are you? How's the family?" Oh, look, the kids have grown up. Now you walk in there, it's like, who are you? Right. The community. I'm still the president of Sprain Lake Knoll Civic Association. I've been the greatest president because I've been busy, but I make sure of two things. I have my Halloween parade and my Easter egg hunt because it's so important to me to let the people get a chance to meet their neighbors and the kids to have a good time. And but we don't have that anymore, and that's what's missing here in the city.
That's something that I say a lot, and I think that's one of the biggest issues I think I have with all the developments going on. I've been here most of my life. I did leave, for some years to, go through other places, but I'm a Yonkers guy, and I've seen the changes, and you mentioned right development. What do you mean by right development? We see the Southwest side being entirely developed, right? Some will say gentrified, others will say revitalized, right? It just depends who you are. But we do see the cost of living, cost of rents going up in that area, and it's largely due to the developments bringing in other investors who are purchasing the properties, right? What do you mean by right development, instead of what we are seeing now?
Easy. So what's happening here is that we are this transit-oriented development, okay? We're bringing a lot of commuters here, and downtown looks beautiful. It looks great, but the results are not what we anticipated. People are not staying here, eating here. Maybe they're doing some delivery. I was at Giovanni's the other day talking to Bruno, and he says he gets pretty good, delivery business. But he said if he had to survive on just the restaurant business, it would not. The people are not coming to the restaurant. And So what we need though is you can't have all these transient people. Some of this development needs to be converted to co-ops and condos without having a stake in the game. You know what I'm saying? People like I've had this conversation with numerous people down on the west side there. People are leaving those apartment buildings because they're saying it was beautiful, it was a
Yeah.
great draw, and then they're getting here and finding out that Getty Square needs a little bit more work. And I've heard that from numerous developers too. But so the answer is people are not making any commitments now. Again, so what does that mean? So we get them to buy it and they still not going to be happy. Well, you know something? If they buy it, they're going to get involved, and when they get involved, it's different. It's different.
They have skin in the game,
Skin in the
as
game.
they say. They have skin in the game.
People's got skin
Right.
in the game. They make it transit oriented. They don't care who's living next door to them. If I pay 300 grand, 600 grand for an apartment building on the west side, I want to know everybody that's on my floor, because one bad apple on that floor is going to, ruin the whole.
And that's the issue that some of the folks over, I believe it's 19 Water Grant Street. That's the only owner occupied building over there on the waterfront. It was one of the very first buildings that they built. They actually were fighting against the Teutonia from being built, because it's going to be put right behind them. They're going to lose a lot of the views. The suns are going to be blocked. So, they're actual owners, and they were making that same complaint, right? But the developments were supposed to, bring in all this economic progress, right? They were supposed to bring in jobs. They were supposed to bring in more affordable housing, and also help with keeping taxes low or at least stagnant. But we've seen taxes go up.
Well, the one thing that again, I want to be fair. I want to be fair to, and I'm honest, straightforward. Transit oriented or not, if you're renting in that apartment, unless you're lying about on your taxes where you are, we do pick up as they're living here, we do pick up the resident surcharge from them. Okay, so they do contribute to our income. Okay, in a different line, again, which next week, Freddy, is the course on the Yonkers budget. So when we have to get together and we talk about the Yonkers budget, so the income tax surcharge contributes, and they pay it, as long as they live here and they file that, and so that we do get. So that. The higher that number, the less we have to rely on the real estate taxes, which is what we directly, as owners of homes, pay. And so that does help in that particular issue. However, they're not contributing in the other parts of the you'll look at my Palm Quads, that lifts communities. Okay, if they're not going out to Giovanni's, or they're not going to X2O, or they're not going to Dolphin, if they're not going to any restaurant, they want to cross over town, come over to Central via Dolce. We just reopened that again. If they're not coming here to this and then shopping, yes, we also get a piece of the internet sales, but it's still not the same thing of coming up to Central, going up to Ridge Hill, going up to Cross County, which is beautiful. I was there the other day. I stopped by for the concert there the other night. What a great job they've done at Cross County to come out and participate and contribute in that sense. That's where we lose out on the branching of everything. So that's what I feel my job is to see what I need to do going out to South Broadway, I'll be out in McLean Avenue in a week or so. Got to get people out there and spending money and contributing.
Yeah, we don't want to become one big bedroom community, right? Where people just come here to sleep and then they hop on the train, they go down to the city to work or wherever else they go, and a lot of times that's where they'll spend their money eating for
dinner,
lunch.
Right? They'll have dinner and just come home and go to sleep.
Right, and go exactly.
But I call it
and they don't connect with the community.
I'll call it the bedroom community versus the hotel community, because it's like a hotel, really.
I learned that term from a woman who was on a documentary about Yonkers and the desegregation, and she was a woman from Runyon Heights, an educated Black woman. I learned that term from her. But I want to ask a question here. The exit tax, it was supposed to be temporary. Will you get rid of it? What do you have to say about that?
The exit tax is here to stay. And I'll tell you why. What I proposed back in 2017, and I was told we were not able to do it, was the exit tax. Okay, for someone, and again, if you have been living here in the city and you own your home, I would love to have it reduced and or deferred for especially seniors. They're here 25, 30 years. They've made their commitment to the city of Yonkers. You know, if they're going to sell their house, especially if they downsize to a co-op or a condo here in the city, they really should get some kind of a tax benefit on the exit tax. And the reason why I say it's not going anyplace is that exit tax, and that's what caught my eye a couple of years ago, was the exit tax had gone up from $10 million to $20 million, which means a lot of people are leaving the city. But needless to say, I'm not going to take away the exit tax, especially what's happening here in the city now, Freddie. I bet you yourself, have been asked if your home is for sale or something or other, because people.
Well, they call me all the time about my investment properties. I get called all the time.
Exactly, because people want to come in. Yonkers is a great place, but unfortunately, Yonkers is becoming one. You there? I lost you for a bit.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Yonkers has become one big bedroom community, and that doesn't work. So that's where I'm not going to allow the investor who's going to come here catch somebody on a foreclosure sale or something, brother. Pick up some house for 500 grand, throw a couple of bucks and flip it for 700 grand. He's paying the flip tax. He's paying, the surcharge, and that's fine. I'm happy to take that money from that person. I just want to be more careful who we're selling to. I mean, I want more people coming. And by the way, these people that are buying and renting out their one-family houses, I'm looking to find out, if they're just here they inherited from mom and dad or whatever they want to buy. If they're commercial properties, they should be paying a little bit more, to the city of Yonkers, So, but again,
that seems to be a national thing.
The question was about the flip tax. The question was about the flip tax, and the answer is, I want to do something for people that have committed to the city, been living in one-family houses, not even multi-family. They should absolutely get some kind of a benefit.
Yeah, I get a lot of calls from these wholesaler guys. But yes, all my are single families. I have single families. That's all I have. But out of state, and I get institutional investors, companies that are big corporations wanting to buy single family homes. So that's what they're doing. A lot of single family homes are being bought up by big companies and stuff, and then starting to renting out. They want us to become more renters. That's what they're saying. You'll own nothing and be happy. But that's another podcast for another day. You got a lot of people here that are saying that you have their vote. William Ward says here you have his vote. One of the comments that was made here by Anthony DiMaggio, the councilman has my vote and has the support of most of the rank and file of the YPD. Talk to me about your feelings towards the YPD and your relationship with the Yonkers police and the job that they're doing.
Yonkers police are the best in the country. That is one of the credits that we have to have here that we've built. And I'll take credit for the last 6 years on the council. We've made sure that the YPD, I treat everybody with respect, Freddy. I don't care who they are, you know what I'm saying? And especially guys with guns, but that's besides.
And a badge.
and a badge. And by the way, like I said, I grew up in an era, I'm 62 years old. I grew up in an era, you respect the police officer. That blue uniform, you respect them, don't disrespect them. I'm totally disgusted when I see certain things, but I respect those men and women every day. And I want to make sure, and they'll tell you, I want to make sure they have, my joke is my computer that I'm talking to you from right now is probably not state of the art. I upgrade to obsolete every 5 years or every 3 years. Where I want my police and everybody in the city to be, fire and all these other guys to have state of the art stuff. I want to make sure that they're the best equipped, the best trained, the best I can pay them. Like I said, I'm not going to promise anything to anything, but as best I can do. I want them, they need to be going to work every day knowing I got their back. And I do. And I want to make sure that they don't have to think about anything but being careful and protecting the people because they're doing it 24/7, 365. I recognize it. I respect it. And I will continue to give them and the fire department, for that matter, every tool that they need to keep this city safe, which is by the way, another problem with the fire department with these high rises.
Right. I'm sorry not to cut you off.
Ball game, but the police department was the question. They got my respect. I got their back.
I was going to mention that, in regards to both the police department and the fire department, I was going to ask you, what impacts do you see happening to both departments as we get these developments coming in, more people coming in, that the buildings are being built even higher, right? That being an issue for the fire department, but more people. Obviously, it's just going to naturally bring in more crime. We're going to get some of that stuff. How are the police and fire department going to be impacted, and how are they adapting to these changes?
Well, because we had our budget meetings back in May, and I asked Commissioner Pagano. I said, Commissioner, well, what could we do with all these buildings, these large buildings that we're building? I says, your ladders only go up 10 stories, from what I understand. I says, how do you fight these fires? And he says, well, we need people, and we did just hire 9 new firefighters to help be ready, I guess, and trained more for these high-rise. God forbid. I mean, I just dread. I mean, these incidents that happen on televisions, can happen to us, and that's a 27-story high-rise fire. You got these guys climbing down on buildings, going down from roofs and trying to get into them because they can't get in. Right. It's the craziest thing in the world. Right. But that's the only way we can do it, is with people. And I want to say something. I'm not going to say I'm not going to put any more high rises, but when you're about to put 2 30-story buildings on
Woodworth,
yeah. Was it Woodworth?
Yeah.
Woodworth, thank you very much. On Woodworth, I mean, we were standing there for an event. I don't know if you were there that day, Freddy, but we were there on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and these developments, I don't know if they belong there, but it's traffic like crazy on the street. What's going to happen when there's 30 stories, two 30-story buildings built over? So I'm not a big fan of. I mean, I'm okay with what we did with. Look, AMS bought Chicken Island. They spent $16 million. We committed to them. I'm not happy. I bent on one of my rules, and that they didn't really have enough for the parking to take care of it. But they made a big commitment to us, and we got to make that come through, to fruition. But again, we need to be careful on how big we're going to get, because what does that mean? We're going to end up having 30, 40-story buildings? Well, never. God forbid. What if there's 2 in one night? God forbid. Right. We're not able to handle it. We don't have the infrastructure. We're going to change topic. You got the infrastructure issues. But yeah, whatever the fire department. We've been buying new, fire trucks. To get them up to snuff, to make sure that they have state-of-the-art fire trucks. I can't even. As mayor, I would never be able to sleep at night thinking that we lost someone's life because one of our pieces of equipment failed. So I won't accept that, and that's, like I said, I will continue to make sure that they're fully funded, fully equipped, for the best equipment, best trained, and fully funded. That's my pledge to the fire departments, police department, DPW guys, because these guys, the DPW guys, clear the way so these guys can get on the roads and do what they got to do when they got to do it.
Speaking of the departments, DPW as well. Obviously, we spoke about the fire department, police department, and the teachers, right? The school employees, their union.
Yep.
There's contracts involved with these folks. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, we see this where contracts are kind of used as leverage during election years, right? And let's just be honest, right? One of the unions that I speak on a lot, because I feel like, they're the smaller, they're the biggest union, they're the largest union, but they get like the least, right? They're the least paid of all, and they're still, fighting for their contracts. How would you, treat these unions, right? These contracts. Would it be fair? Would you be a mayor that leverages contracts for, both, or will you, make an effort to get these contracts? CSCA, even the police. I'm talking about all the departments, but specifically CSCA, who are constantly feeling like they are, not being heard as much as the other.
Well, again, the answer is that's not how I work. Again, I'm not anticipating that I'm going to get any endorsements from the unions, because obviously I think that they were talked into the fact that they got their contract to support the mayor. I've heard that offline from other people, so that's ridiculous. It's going to be about dollars and cents. I mean, I can't promise that. I can't promise everything that I can get, but the answer is that no. You know something, I want to. Our contracts now, the contracts we just signed are all going to basically expire in June of 24. So I want to get on that right away. And again, gotta get the development going. Got to see where we're going with what the mayor has put together so far, and try to make it better. MGM, a whole bunch of things have to fall into place. I'm not going to promise that I'm going to have something, but if I had my dithers, it's not fair that their contract expires. It should never have to expire and go on multiple years. So that we can hold them hostage, hold it hostage. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And but they got to work with me, because something. At the end of the day, if I don't have the revenue, don't think I'm going to be taxing my people to death just to give them a contract. We got to
you got to be fair. It's a delicate balance, right?
Listen, we'll sit down and talk. Listen,
it's a beautiful dance.
Listen, right now, the union leaders. I think I have a decent relationship with all of them. I'm a very close relationship with Lupe County. I've known for many, many years. But again, still, I'll talk to all of them. George and PJ and I don't want to think. Well, Keith, I don't know if Keith is still going to stay on, but I'll talk to all of them every day. I don't care. But respect will always be there. I'm not a hostage taker. Okay, but I'm not going to be held hostage either. Okay, so I'm a businessman. We're going to do the right thing. I want to be fair. If that's the word that I can use, I want to be fair. If you're not fair with me, and then I got a couple of baseball bats and gloves. We'll play baseball.
I think fair is a good term. I think it's a good way to put it. And I think that's what most people are just asking for, fairness, right? I'm going to let I know you have to get somewhere, so I want to let you go, but really quick, I do want to ask this question. Sure. What will Mr. Merante do, I guess, about the lack of affordable housing in Yonkers and the odd placement of current affordable housing sequestered into the Southwest Yonkers only and not dispersed in East Yonkers?
Well, so first things first, as far as affordable housing is concerned. Okay, so the affordable housing is whatever's been happening there was supposed to be maintained by the planning department, which, as some of your viewers may or may not know, was now taken over by Jim Kavanaugh. Lou Albano retired. So one of the other things you'll hear me say a lot is, who's keeping score? And that's when I go down to talking to people about being dispersed throughout the city. Well, the East Side has and I'll fight to every drop of blood in my body that we're not giving up single family home residencies. Okay, what Kathy Hochul tried to do away with, and thank God we got the ear of a lot of people. And unfortunately, Mike Spano wasn't one of them. He was, I think, looking forward to all that additional developments or whatever. What the benefit was for him.
And so you're referring to this legislation where they wanted to change the single family zoning and allow for all buildings and single family homes to be mixed in the same area. Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, for me, when we got out of the city, right, it was to move to the suburbs, to see houses, right, to be in an area where there's single family homes with backyards. You want that suburban life, right? So that's what people do. That's why if you want the city life, you have the city life. But in terms of affordable housing, because not everyone can afford to buy a home, right? And some people don't want to have to live in the city, but then they're confined to a certain area because they just can't afford it. What about those folks?
Well, the other problem with the development that happened here with all these rental units, it has driven the rental market here in the city of Yonkers out of control. So when people say to me, it's we want to get to affordable housing, I says, can you please? I can't answer the question. What does the word affordable mean? I mean, because let's face it. I mean, a single person making $60,000. I mean, a one-bedroom apartment right now. What are they going for now? $2,500.
$3,000 by the water for them.
I mean, that. So those guys, not everybody's making even 60,000. Be very tight for someone to try to make ends meet on that particular amount. So what's affordable? So again, it's a slippery slope. I'm trying to get. I don't know what the full answer is, but I know part of the answer is going to be we need to stop building rental units. We need to get some development in here that's going to be, or convert things back to co-ops and condos, get this rental market under control, and see what we can do to help people, get affordable housing. And again, I wish I knew the exact push button on this thing. You asked me about a tax return, I can tell you up and down, back and forth.
Right. So that's pretty cut and dry, right? That's what
But
my mom does all
I
day.
want people to be. I want people. All I wanted to make sure of it. And again, crime is the second. Term limits is what's going to get me elected because it's time for a new vision. Crime is the issue that we got to stop because that creates other issues for people wanting to move from where they are. If they have a bad landlord, I want to know about them because that landlord's going to have
a tough time with your bat there, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't like that. Listen, I don't like people being taken advantage of. And if you're a player, want to be a player, you want to play the games. That's another story. But most people are just all they want is a place to go home to at night, and enjoy their family. And I want to make sure that the quality of life is the best for every individual here in the city of Yonkers.
There are a lot of open lawsuits against the city due to corrupt practices. Paying out settlements has added a lot of debt to the city budget. We're carrying over a debt of almost $3 billion, right? And I want to ask you that last question, and then I just wanted you to touch on the differences of the term limit line and the term limit petition before we wrap it up. But just this question, right? I was, geez, I forgot the question.
The debt, the $3 billion in debt.
Right, the $3 billion in debt that the city is carrying. Tell me a little bit about that. Is that something we should be concerned with?
Yeah, absolutely. Our budget is $1.4 billion now. Plus, we're still spending $100 million. I like to get a closer look at on certain things. I mean, even as the budget chair, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that the city kept away from me because they're afraid of me. Because obviously,
I hear you've been, not. Being invited to many things here.
That's correct. That's correct. Listen, it's okay. It's a badge of honor. It's a badge of honor because of the fact that even the mayor. I remember not this year, but the previous year during the National Night Out, when Mike introduced me, he said, "Here's Councilman Merante. He's the guy that keeps us in line." So listen, I have a good relationship with Mike Span. I don't have a bad relationship. I have nothing personal, and there's no personal animosities between me and him. But the point of the matter is that we as a budget have to find out where we're going to save some money. But I want to raise revenue from taxes, from sales tax, from the income tax. I want to make sure Albany is. I'm going to be, breathing down their back every day to make sure I'll go up to Albany every week if I have to go to Albany every week. I'm going to get our money over here because that's number one. But number two is we're going to get development that people are going to come here. They're going to shop. They're going to spend, and they're going to come back and spend some more money and hopefully go home to their jurisdictions and stuff because we're out of space. We have 211,000 people, and we're kind of out of space unless we want to keep going up. And I don't know. I'm not an expert in the balance. There's a balancing point somewhere here, but I'm going to get that. I'm going to bring in the people that are here to help the city of Yonkers, not to capitalize on the city of Yonkers.
That's the difference there. You have people that are coming here to capitalize on it, right? Investors that are never going to live in Yonkers. And then you have people that are looking to come live in Yonkers. They want to get away from the city. Councilman, what's the plan for all these take-home cars? And that's a way you can, cut some costs there and find money, right? You don't have a take-home car. So
I do not. I want to see my registration my tax help card.
I will vouch for that.
It is mine. It is mine. I don't take a gas card either. Okay. I don't think that. So look, the people that are going to come work for me, commissioners and stuff of that nature, we give a good salary. It's kind of a perk. Again, are our salaries the best? Maybe not. But you want to know something? If you want the job over here, come get the job. You don't need a car. Again, have I thought about it? Yeah, I have. It's again very, very tricky question and answer is that I would love to do away with the bulk of the city cars. I don't think anybody does the DPW commissioner need to? Absolutely, he needs to have the best vehicle because when that storm is happening, he better be able to get to wherever. Does the mayor really? I said, I asked Phil McCone, the former. I said, Phil, do I need to have a police officer driving me around town and stuff? I said, I don't need no cop driving me around town. I guess I don't need I can use my own vehicle. Is there unless they tell me that's a safety reason for the mayor. But needless to say, I don't personally think I need any. I get tired of these guys showing up at these fires at nighttime to take a photo op. What are you going to grab? You're going to grab a hose and go into the building, or you're going to? What are you going to? What the hell are you going to do?
Right.
I'm listen, Freddie. You know me. I'm not very happy about being in front of cameras. I don't want. I want to make sure the job is done by the right people. I don't have to be in front of the camera to take. My credit is when the police department, the fire department settle things and find out if there's an arson case and fix it. Police department find a criminal who's been on the loose. That's my pride. Is making sure that I gave them the tools to do that.
Well, you don't have to take them away, I guess, but you can maybe find some more, some limitations, right? Maybe they're overly used, right? I don't want to say the word abused. They're overly used. Maybe certain days they shouldn't be driving them. That saves wear and tear and gas, right? So maybe if there's at least more regulated, that can, help and kind of balance that out, right? Really quick before you go, this is important, right? Come November.
Everything's important, Freddie. Everything's important.
Your name is going to be on two lines, the Republican, and your name is also going to be on the restored term limit line. What is the difference between, and you want to, clear this up, between the restored term limit line and the term limit petitions that you had submitted to the city? Oh, referendum. I'm sorry. The term limit referendum.
The referendum is what people would think of as a proposition that would be on the back of the ballot where you were voting yes and no to. Okay, so I was successful in getting the independent party line called Restore Term Limits by getting 1,500. I got 1,600. I needed 1,500 signatures to get that line, that independent line on the ballot, to have that second party line so others can vote for me other than on the Republican line. The other item that we did was we tried to get a referendum on the ballot, turning back what was just done by the city council, turning it back from 4 4-year terms to 3 4-year terms. Now, we were working with the Democrats early on in this, but they didn't really come through with a lot of this. So it ended up falling a lot on my shoulders, and we submitted a little over 5,000 signatures to the city clerk. So that referendum to let the people vote to turn term limits back. Hey, maybe the reason why we didn't get it was because we didn't try to bring it back to 2 terms. Okay, maybe that's why we didn't get as much help, but we got a lot of signatures. And disingenuously, the clerk's office turned it back, saying that 1,800 signatures were illegible. Are you kidding me? I could have fought that thing, but you want to know something? I don't think I needed 4,700 signatures. I only turned in 5, of which, like I said, my people, got 4,300 of those signatures. And we tried to work this out with some of the the Democratic folks, but they just didn't want to do it, to continue on with it. But needless to say, we worked it. We didn't get so the referendum would have been where you, the folks, would have had the opportunity to change the term limit law yourself at the ballot box. You unfortunately will not get that opportunity on your own this November. However, I am the Restore Term Limit candidate. The first thing I'm going to do when I get into City Hall is I'm going to put together a Charter Revision Commission, and I'm going to propose a charter revision changing term limits back to 2 4-year terms. And unfortunately, it's going to have to come through the City Council, but I'm going to work with them and hope that they will agree with me and turn it back to the 2 4-year terms. That's my pledge to the people, that's what my job is going to be. If I don't get it done next year, I'm going to get it done one way, shape, or form. If I have to help get new council members elected in the next couple of years to get the Restore Term Limit pledge. If they do it, we're going to be out there supporting people, and we'll create that line all over again. And we'll have candidates on the Restore Term Limit line versus Democrat, Republican. We will get that thing done. You watch and see.
Well, really quick, that you mentioned it, you're going to work hard to get all new council members. Like, if you do win, right, and you begin your tenure as mayor, next year, sure, you're still going to have the same council members you see here today,
except me,
except you, right? Except you.
I get to appoint my successor. Yes. Okay,
and so there'll be one new. How do you feel that interaction? You're working with this council, who obviously, it favors the current administration. Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, this current city council president, introduced the legislation to extend the term. How do you feel that's going to be that working environment?
And Lakeisha and Tasha both said that night at the term limit vote was that if there's a referendum was put, they would support changing it because they were pressured into doing it that night. And I says, I think Lakeisha is a very hardworking woman, and she got caught in this political web, and Tasha is also very independent people that were kind of like, I think that I think I can work with them. I can try. Listen, if it doesn't happen, listen, Tasha's, she's got to overcome Hector Santiago on the working family line. Okay. Mike Breen is in. He doesn't have an opponent, so he's on that one. Lakeisha's, and she's up for election in 25. She's up for election in 25. Rubo's up for election in 25. Okay. And we'll see what's going to happen with Corazon in the second. Because again, if I don't get this thing through, then we have 4 4-year terms. Maybe Corazon's going to run for Corazon's an ally on the council. I think I have that right now, and I'll work. Listen, I'm a fair guy. I want to work with the council members. I have a very good relationship with my fellow colleagues on the council, and I think my feeling when I win November 7th, it will drive the message that the people of the city of Yonkers do not want 4 4-year terms. In spite of the fact that Mike Breen will have his 4th term, but I think I can work with Mike.
Mike Breen,
reasonable.
Councilman Anthony Merante, current mayoral candidate, Republican mayoral candidate for the city of Yonkers. You're out there.
Restore term limit candidate.
Restore term limit candidate. Also, I'm going to just say that one, restore term limit candidate, because listen, I've been talking about the Republican Party. I don't know if they still actually exist. So it might just be the Democrats and the restore term limit party. I think those are the only 2 parties we have here. But thank you. I appreciate you taking the invite. It wasn't that bad, right, Merante? See? It wasn't bad. So I thank you.
It was good. It was good for me.
I appreciate you. Is there anything before you get out of here that you want to say?
Yes, please. MeranteForYonkers.com. Please come on, join us, donate to us. I know I can fund all this myself, but I'd like to get a little help. Please come out there, volunteer. This is a big undertaking, so come on out there, join the team, join the Restore Term Limit team, and help us seal the deal for November 7th. Early voting is October 28th. Starts October 28th. Let's get out there and give me the support the extra support I need to close the deal, and we become mayor of the city of Yonkers together and create some opportunities for those who've been left out.
Anthony Merante, councilman of the 6th District, currently looking for you to vote for him for the next mayor of the city of Yonkers. Many people are supporting him. I see it. There's his page, MeranteForYonkers.com. Check it out if you want to know more information. Councilman, I appreciate you being here with me today. Thank you very much. It was a great podcast. I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon, Freddy.
Best of luck. Take care.
I'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Folks, that was Anthony Merante, the restored term limit candidate, right? Not Republican candidate anymore. And the corruption party. We need, the rent is too damn high. Yeah, awesome proposal, Councilman Merante, on term limits, ending cycle of politicians in perpetuity. That's true, right? I mean, that's why we need term limits, and that's why I'm in favor. It's not I dislike anyone specifically. It's just, we have to kind of move on. It's just a position where you give your service to your community, to your city, your nation, your fellow, Americans or whatever, and then you move on. You're supposed to go out there in the world and start a business or, do something where you're working and providing some service or product to the people. But as a civil service, a civil servant, it's not supposed to be a career. But things are changing. We see this happening all over the country. People are looking to, or cities are looking to change the term limits. Some have already done it. They're looking to stay in power longer and longer, right? So people have to fight it. We have to stay informed. And this is why I do Basement Politics. I hope to have Mayor Mike Spano on the show. Will the mayor join me on Basement Politics? Folks, let me know. Let him know. Let me know in the comment. Let him know in his page. Say, hey, we want to see you on Basement Politics with Freddy Vazquez, the people's guy, the people's voice. I'm going to change my name to the people's voice. How about that? This was great, Freddie. You're an unbiased host. Thank you. I appreciate it. I like Anthony Merante. I do. As a person, but I still wanted to touch on certain things. I mean, and I didn't want to make it all about bochinche, as we say, gossip and stuff like that. We just want the facts. I want people to be aware of all the candidates who are running. It's not necessarily saying that I'm endorsing Anthony Merante and I'm supporting, and I want you to vote for him. And I'm not saying don't either. I'm just saying I want you to be informed. And I don't want myself to impact you, but I do sometimes give my opinion, right? I do that sometimes, right? You still ask the tough questions. Oh, thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. That means a lot because I'm always asking my wife, what do you think? What do you think? Did I do a good job, right? I just want to make sure that people are informed and engaged and, and entertained at times too. Want to mix it up a little bit. Mr. Merante saying that you don't, are you saying that you don't feel the need to cut ribbons with oversized scissors once a week? No, I'm not sure if Anthony Merante is going to be doing that. I mean, he may, and it's a good thing, right? If we got a good business in there, we want to see that the officials are supporting the businesses and stuff, but we don't want to do it just simply to get people to vote for you, right? We want to make sure that officials are not only cutting their ribbons and doing grand opening ceremonies, but that they're also supporting businesses, right? In any way that they need to be supported. Like if they're having trouble with the building department and it's taken over a year, and it's having you're having a hard time getting whatever licenses or whatever it is that you need to operate, then we need our officials to step in. The small business owners, we are the backbone, right? We are the backbone. We are the community here providing services and jobs to people of the community, right? So small business owners are big. Folks, really quick before I leave, I did get some information on Jose Alvarado as to why he left after 4 months, why he resigned from the city clerk's office. In 2012, Jose Alvarado, after being the Westchester County legislator for District 17 for many years, became the city clerk here in the city of Yonkers. But it only lasted 4 months. He resigned, saying that he saw better opportunities for him and his family in the private sector. Well, the reason why he did that is because he was getting paid for 2 jobs, full-time pay, but he obviously couldn't go to 2 jobs. He's only one man. He couldn't clone himself, right? So one of the jobs was a no-show job, and he was going to be outed by Hezi Eris, the man that recently had to retract his articles on Keith Olsen, the Blue Truth, John Mueller, and Brian Moran. He was investigating Jose Alvarado's little scam there. He's working at a hospital in White Plains, full-time position, but you're the city clerk, a full-time position. So which job are you going to? One of them's got to be a no-show job. And so that's why he resigned, allowing for Vinny Spano to become the city clerk, which he still is to this day. And because Vinny is so handsome, right? He's such a handsome guy. In the past, 10 years, he's gotten a huge raise. All right. It went from 102 that Jose Alvarado was making to what Vinny makes now. But that's because he's a handsome guy. You get a handsome guy raise. I've never got one of those because my nose is too big, right? And Alberto Velasquez is going to do some plastic surgery on it whenever he gets back from his many Puerto Rican vacations. Oh, he's in the DR. He's in Salsa. Are you in Salsa? That's what you are? Is that how you say it? Salsa? Right? Salsa. Does Nolan still show up for the sanitation route? I don't know. Where is it? No show job. Would love to see him in that. Well, he takes pictures and posts them. And I actually heard also that one time he was voting on something important at the Board of Legislators while hanging off the back of a sanitation truck. So they had to warn him not to do that because that's dangerous, right? It's like driving while talking on the cell phone is probably actually more dangerous, right? Because you're hanging on and then you got to hold the phone and then, or maybe you just talk. Could they hear him in the background? I mean, I don't know. So that's what they said. And actually someone got footage of it. They recorded him hanging off the back of a truck while voting. So maybe because they didn't want him to risk his life to vote, they said he didn't have to show up. We want him to be safe. We want him to die. Come on. No, I have a noble nose. That's the first time I heard that. Your hair is just too long. You know, I'm I, I'm trying to actually, you know what it is, the truth is that my barber said he's not going to be back till September. And the last haircut I got was from another guy, and I never like it if it's not my barber. I guess like a woman when it comes, and I don't want to say women or whatever. I don't know if that's a bad thing. My mom is like that though. She comes to New York, she has to go see her hairstylist, and his name is Freddy also. She has to see it. And I have my guy, he's not coming back till September. So, but also when I cut it, some people say that I look like a street guy, which I am technically, but I'm not, you know. But so I don't know about Nolan. Like I said, maybe they just want him to be safe. He still double dips. Look at his attendance at his meetings with the county while he's allegedly is working full-time job at the Yonkers Parks Department. That is true. No, I know. Of course. Look, you know, the thing about me, I don't really get offended. You know, I've kind of like, you can say whatever about me. It doesn't bother me. You know, I don't care. So, you know, I'll laugh it off too. And I like to joke on people too. So if I dish it out, I got to be able to take it, you know. So I'm not it's really more sensitive about my wife and stuff. And that's what I've had to actually work on, because then they started picking on her because they knew that's what would get me going. And so I had to work on that. But I don't care what they, about that. But I appreciate you, Washington. Thank you for the comments. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys. But yeah, so Jose Alvarado, is he still double dipping? I mean, how does that work, right? If he has to go up to the county to vote, he has a full-time job at the Parks Department. Is he allowed to, is he docked? How does that work? Right? Maybe he should be docked. Maybe he should, okay, if you have to go, you can't get paid for that time. Right? I don't know. But that's the issue there, folks. And we just got to keep him honest, right? He should have stayed in the private sector. He still is, I think. Facts. So, folks, anyway, I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you, folks. Shout out to all of you. I love you, folks. I love Yonkers so much. I really do, and I'm here for the people, and I hope you know that. And by the way, I think I just found out some information on Alberto Vazquez. Hey, is it true? The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree streets. I'm Freddy Vazquez. This is Basement Politics. Alberto, you committed attempted murder. I don't care what anybody says. The CSCA president committed attempted murder. If it's true what I posted and it's the connection there, then look at that. I mean, why so many people that are in positions of power here in the city are so aggressive and violent and actually have a history of it? But I don't. They say I'm the mentally unstable one. They haven't pulled out any arrest records. No one's stepped up and said, he went crazy on me and beat me up and ripped my face up. And nothing, because I'm a boring guy. I don't really like to go out. You know, when my wife and I turned 30, we did my big party for my 30th birthday. We did it big. Then it was her turn. A few months later, I rented a limo just so we didn't have to drive, so I can just get it all out of my system. And that was bad because I ended up blacking out. I don't remember much of the night. They said I was standing in the middle of the road directing traffic in Manhattan. I don't remember it. My friend was on the floor of the limo and, you know, with his arms like this laid out while his wife was hitting on him and ripping his shirt up. I have no idea what happened. It was a fight and I didn't even see it. But I did wake up with vomit on my jacket. I had vomited on the limo. So I said, no more. That's it. No more drinking for me. Right? So we did it big. So I'm a boring guy. I don't do much. I try to stay away from trouble. I married the first girl I met like an idiot. I'm just kidding, babe. Just kidding. I did. Yeah. But no, I met my wife, 16 years old. We've been together ever since, and I'm a boring guy. I want to be boring because I didn't want my whole childhood was enough, right? But I loved it. I love my family, but it was enough. Folks, have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful week. Enjoy.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
I was raised in housing.
Oh, by the way, honey, hold on, honey, you're always talking over me, babe. Always talking over me, babe. By the way, I got to see my former assistant principal who's working with my wife now. He's a principal now. This man is a great man. His name is Mr. Chiaffi. Anthony Chiaffi, shout out to you. 43 years in the Yonkers Public School District. This guy had an impact on my life. He's the only principal, assistant principal I remember. Him and Mr. Radko, who's 92 years old, but I hear is sharp as a whip, or what is it? Sharp as a whatever. It's so amazing that I used to tell my wife, because I would tell her stories about Yonkers, and always told her about Mr. Chiaffi because he would come out and play with us at recess. He would be the QB, the quarterback, right? The automatic quarterback for both sides. And he came out every day. Didn't matter if it was cold, you know, the weather wasn't good. And he, you know, was in our lives talking with us. You know, shout out to him because, you know, people like that make an impact on people's lives. And you don't even realize how much of an impact you have on somebody's life. So yeah, I used to get into trouble. Well, really, I was a fighter, and I used to go into the office a lot, you know, and he would have good talks with me. And then he would let me watch sports bloopers on the tapes that he would have, right? So shout out to him. And it's just amazing. I would talk to my wife about him, never knowing that one day she would actually meet him and work with him. Much respect to you, Mr. Chiaffi. He is an example of what every school staff member, principal, teacher should be. If someone could remember you so many years later, then you did a good job. Shout out to you, Mr. Chiaffi. God bless you. And God bless you too. Oh, Eugene Racco, that's right. Eugene Racco, that was my principal, man. Those are the two coolest dudes ever. School 16. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank you so much. You guys really made an impact on my life, you know? You really did. Thank you. That's what we should aim for, especially if you're working with kids. We want to impact their lives, man. And I know I have with a lot of kids who still recognize me and come up to me. And some of them are even taller than me nowadays. So that's a great thing. Thank you so much. Yonkers Public Schools.